Okay, I'm going to show you how to make just your basic window pop up using Java. I know when I tried to learn how to do this at first, I tried to Google for help, and I always find people who are just either way smarter than I am, or people who just really couldn't explain it in such a way that would make sense to me. So my goal, as always, is to try to do that for you, especially if you're just starting. So the first thing I need to do is create my main program, my main class here. And the key is to remember that we're trying to create this window object that shows up on the screen. Now, this is not the correct way to do it, but this is my logic. Okay, I want to create a window object. So remember, if you've dealt with objects before, this would make complete sense in how I'm speaking right now. If you've never dealt with objects, this is going to be a little bit more challenging for you. You're just going to have to try to hang in there and understand what I am doing. But the first word is always the type of object I'm trying to build. So I'm trying to build a window object, and then the next step is to name it. So I'm going to name my window super window. Okay, we'll just call it super window equals new, and then you always type super window. You always type window, and it needs parameters. Now, this is going to be an error because this is not how you do it, but the idea is when you create objects, you need to type first the type of object you want, followed by the name of that object, and then the word new, and then you create that object, a window object. So that's just the structure for creating objects. Now, in Java, that's not called a window. We need to understand what it's called. At the same time, in order for me to create these windows, I have to understand that I need to pull in Java's ability to create the window. I need to go to the Java library and grab the information in the Java library that builds windows. So that's a big hint that I'm going to need an import statement, and import statements typically go at the top right after your package. And the import statement that you need in order to create these windows and all of the stuff that people think are programs, because they look like a program with a window, you need to do the import java x.swing. Okay, now I'm just going to do a general .swing with an asterisk and just pull it all. Now, that's going to allow me to create windows and manipulate windows. It's called Java GUI, GUI with swing. You could Google that too if you're looking for other help. But it's not called a window. It's called a JFrame. So what I need to do is change my word window to the word JFrame, the appropriate Java recognized word. And now what I've just done is I have just created a new JFrame, and a JFrame is an actual window that pops up when you run your program. Now right now, if I were to run this, nothing's going to show up because what I've done is I've built the whole window in memory. I've built this frame in memory, but I've not actually told it to show up on the screen. Okay, so that's my first issue. I haven't told it to pop up on the screen at all. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do something that's really just standard procedure. Okay, I've built the window, but what I also want to do is I want to tell the window to close when somebody clicks on it, and I want my whole program to close when somebody clicks on it. Now this is kind of one of those things you just have to understand what I'm doing here, and you just kind of have to follow it. But what I need to do is I need to call that window. I need to talk to it. So in the first line, in my line 13 here, I have created this window. The window has a name. That's actually going to be pretty important to note, so I'm going to put it right here. My window's name is called Super Window. And so when I want to talk to it, I need to call it. So here in this line 14, I've called it. I say, hey, Super Window, come here. Come on over. I want you to do something for me. So I go super window dot, and see I have like a billion options here, and I'm not going to scroll through that list. I'm just going to tell you what I need. I need the operation or the method that is called set default. Set default close operation. Okay. Now, set default close operation basically says, what do you want me to do when you close? Alright, now again, this is code that if you've never done this before and aren't real in-depth on Java, this is something you kind of have to just follow. Okay, so what I want to do is I want it to close the JFrame. I want it to close the window. Okay, so I want to exit, and you can see my option there is exit on close. I want to exit on close, and then I need my semicolon at the end. So far I have two lines of code. The first line builds a window in memory. the second line talks to the window, says, hey, okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a command here, and what I want you to do is, when people close you here, the default close operation, I want you basically just to take the JFrame, take the window, take the program, and just close it all. Shut it down. That's what I want. Okay, so that's just kind of standard procedure. That's going to exit on close. Okay, the next thing I need to do is I need to tell my window to show up when I run my program, and so that's kind of the third item I'm going to do here. So to make my window show up, I need to talk to it again. I need to say, hey window, I want to tell you something. Come on over here. I need you to show up. I need you to pop up on the screen. So call the window on over, and I call it by name, just like I call my dog. Super window, come on over here. Dot, I'm going to talk to you and tell you to do something. Okay, and in this case of this massive list of items and options, what I want is I want the option that's going to be called set visible, because what I want to do is I want to talk about if it's visible or not. So I'm going to set visible. I'm going to set visible to true because I want it to be visible to the world. I want it to show up and pop up. Alright, now frankly these three lines of code will create my window for me. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to run my program right now and let it go. It's the first time I've run it, so it's going to take a minute. And I'll tell you that right up here, it's off my screen right now. And if you're running this and following with me, you'll get a little tiny window that pops up. And it pops up on in my screen is the top left, so I'm going to drag it in here so you can see it. Now, I'll be honest with you, when I ran this program, it actually popped up. It was probably about this big. Okay, it's super tiny like this. And so it is draggable, it's resizable, and so I can resize it now. So congratulations, we have just made our first window. Okay, but I'm going to tell you what, it's a little bit frustrating, it's a little bit annoying to me that every time I run this window, it like shows up this size right here. Okay, well I can't do anything with it, and every time I run it I gotta click and drag and try to make it bigger. That's kind of frustrating. Okay, so I'm going to show you just a couple things here that we can do. Actually, I'll show you one thing. You can set the size of the window when it opens, so I'm going to do that right now. So let's see here. I like to do this in a certain order. I like to, before I make it show up, I like to tell it what size to be. So guess what? Right here, I'm going to talk to my window again. So I need to call it on over because I'm going to talk to it. So super window, come on over here. Dot. I'm going to tell you something, and this time what I want you to do is I want you to set the size of you. I want you to set the window size. So it's called set size. Okay, that's what I want to do. I want to set size. Okay, and I can give it dimensions. And I'm going to, let's see, I'll make sure it's a rectangle so you know which number is which. I'm going to go 400 by 600 here. And I'm going to set my window 400 by 600. So there we have it. I have a, let's go line by line. On line 13, I build the window in memory. On line 14, I tell the windows to make sure you shut down and close everything when someone closes you. On line 15, I tell the window to make sure that it is the appropriate size, that it's 400 pixels by 600 pixels. And on line 16, I tell the window to make sure that it pops up and shows to the world when the program runs. So I'll run my program here, and my window will pop up. It's over here on the side. I'll drag it in, and now notice my window has actually some dimensions to it. It's 400 by 600. And you can see it's a little bit bigger than my video dimension. But there we go. I'll redrag it. And if that bothers me, then I could go in here and try. I realize that's too tall, so I'm going to come back and change my 600 to maybe a 500. And then I should be good here. I'll run my program, Shift F6 in mine, and drag it over, and there you can see I've got a 400 by 500 window. Now notice 400, the first number, is the width of my window, and 500, my second number, is the height of my window. So it's entering it width by height is what it's doing. Close that. Now when I click close here, you can notice that my program will stop running, and then on the output I get build successful, and I can tell that it completely stopped. It just shut everything off and it's done running, which is great, and that's because I have this exit on close operation here. Alright, well there you have it. There is kind of just the first very basics on how to create a window. My plan, I'll create more videos in the future so that you can maybe build on the window and create some interaction or customization to the window. But that is a super basic way on how you create your very first window. Congratulations.